Welcome. My name is Gary Abbott with USA Wrestling. I'm Director of Communications, and would like to thank you for coming to our pre-Olympic Trials press conference here in Iowa City. Actually, we're in Coralville, I'm told, so I want to make sure I get that correct. This event, which will start tomorrow and go Sunday, will determine athletes who will represent the United States at the Summer Olympic Games in freestyle, men and women, and Greco-Roman wrestling. We have 18 weight classes being contested. Starts up tomorrow in Carver Hawkeye, 9 a.m. 6 o'clock is the final session. We'd like people to be aware that there's still some seats, I'm told, so we expect a great turnout and should be an outstanding competition. We're really all excited about being here. So we have a program. I want to explain a little bit how we're going to do it, and from that point on, we'll just have our athletes, coaches, and guests talk a little bit about what's going ahead for them and for what fans might expect here in Iowa City this weekend. I will introduce two people to give welcome messages who will come up to the podium. One representing USA Wrestling and the other the local organizing committee. And then we'll have athletes and coaches answer one or two questions from me. We'll allow you guys to ask questions now after they speak. But then at the end, we're going to have one-on-one opportunities. So if you'd like to speak individually with any of these athletes, coaches, or leaders, you can do that at that time. So the bottom line is that we're looking forward to a great weekend, and we're glad you're here to cover us, and we hope that you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Our first speaker will be Rich Bender. He's Executive Director of USA Wrestling. I'd like him to come up and talk a little bit about his ideas and perspectives about what it's like to have trials here in Iowa and what people can expect.
Thank you, Gary. Wow. What a weekend for our sport. I said this, excuse me, many times before, but what you're going to witness this weekend is what I believe is the purest pursuit in all sport. That's an American athlete, an American wrestler, trying to win a gold medal for his country. I sense it puts the hair on the back of my neck straight out. I'd be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to give some thanks to a couple of groups here. I'd like to, first of all, thank the University of Iowa. I'd like to thank the Coralville, Iowa City, CVB, City of North Liberty. What an amazing job they've done to provide an opportunity and a platform for these unbelievable athletes to showcase their skills. I think 220 athletes are here this weekend vying for 18 spots in what will be, I promise you, the most dramatic competition you've ever seen in your life. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank NBC for their monumental coverage of this event. They're allowing us to live webcast all the preliminary matches. There'll be 3 hours of one-day tape delay coverage on NBC Sports on Sunday and Monday. So hold on to your hats. It's going to be an unbelievable weekend. And on behalf of USA Wrestling, thank you for your interest. Thank you to the folks here in Iowa for staging what I know is going to be the greatest wrestling event ever staged. Thank you.
I just want to add one more athlete here to our group. So. Now I'd like to introduce Josh Hamburger from the Iowa City Coralville Area Convention and Visitors Bureau. He and so many people in this community have made a big difference in pulling together this outstanding event. Josh?
Thanks, Gary. On behalf of the local organizing committee, which represents the University of Iowa, the Iowa City Coralville Area CVB, and the cities of North Liberty, Coralville, and Iowa City, welcome and thank you for being here. It's no secret that our goal when we started this process 18 to 20 months ago was to create an experience that's going to make it absolutely impossible for people like Rich and Gary to ever think of holding an Olympic trials in any other city. It needs to be here in Carver. It's the greatest venue in the United States, arguably the world, to see wrestling. And I think our fans have responded. We've sold over 12,000 tickets to both days, which has shattered any and all previous records. And anybody that is here for their first time, whether they be a coach, athlete, or fan, are going to experience a wrestling venue unlike any other. So on behalf of the local organizing committee again, welcome. Thanks for being here, and certainly go Hawks.
this point, does anyone have any questions either for Rich or Josh? We'll use the table mics if there's anything at this point. Certainly we, Mike?
Well, actually, this is a question for Rich. You're talking about this group, this attendance, which you're going to have to set the records. But for a lot of these fans, they're primarily folk-style college, high school fans. Do you feel like you have to almost teach them the style they're going to be seeing?
Well, I think certainly that's part of our production goal. Prior to the competition, there'll be some videos that will be trying to educate the public, but I wouldn't sell these people short in their knowledge of the overall sport of wrestling. I think they'll what they don't understand right away, that they'll catch on very quickly. I think we're blessed to have a very educated wrestling public following this event.
Any other questions at this time? Okay, now we're going to move on to our national team coaches that are here to represent the 3 Olympic styles of wrestling. Basically, we're going to have them answer a question or two from me, and then you can ask them specific questions. I'd like to start with our women's national coach, Terry Steiner, at the far end. Coach Steiner, you may know, is a NCAA champion here at Iowa, and he's been with our women's team since 2002. Has led us in both Olympic Games that the women have competed at the Olympics, and looking forward to a 3rd team effort. Coach Steiner, what kind of goals and aspirations do you have for the women's freestyle program in this Olympic year?
Well, our goals are pretty simple. I mean, we want to go to London and bring home 4 pieces of hardware, and you know, I believe we have the team that can do that. And you know, this weekend, hopefully, you know, those people that are most capable of bringing back medals are the ones standing at the end of the day.
Coach Steiner, I mean, some people may not have seen women's wrestling that are going to be here. What should a fan expect from the competition and of the athletes that are in our women's freestyle program this weekend?
Well, from my understanding, and I may be wrong, but I don't think so, I think we're going to see the largest group of people in one setting that has ever watched women's wrestling.
Anywhere in the world, right?
Anywhere in the world, so you know, I think it's going to be an exciting aspect from that. But I think what those people are going to see is, you know, they're going to see wrestlers. And they're going to see people that can perform skills at a high level. And they're going to see some great athletes, and instead of looking at it so much as men and women, I think they're just going to see a great product of wrestling. And hopefully they're ready for that. Hopefully they can open up their minds and hearts to that a little bit.
Does anyone have a specific question at this point for Coach Steiner? Yes.
Coach Steiner, besides coaching, of course, what advantages do you see the United States women having over the women in other countries in terms of wrestling?
Well, I think, I mean, I guess from a in the U.S. right now, women's wrestling is the fastest growing high school sport. So, I mean, we have an advantage, number one, because we have numbers. And then we're starting to get more and more numbers. So I think we have you know, anytime you have more numbers, you have more athletes, and more athletes you have pushing each other. That's what makes things happen, is you have competition within a program. And that's the one thing we have right now that a lot of countries don't have, is we have every weight class is very highly competitive, and that's what we need. That's what we need to move this sport forward.
And we have the best coach.
Anyone else for a Coach Steiner question?
Could you talk about the strength of the pool that you're able to draw from now, because the sheer number has continued to climb, the number of female athletes? Can you talk about that?
Well, I mean, we're just getting. I don't know what our exact numbers are, but I think when I started with the program back in 2002, I think our numbers were somewhere around 1,500 to 2,000. You know, I think now we're up around 7,000. Okay, so I mean, that's huge growth in a short amount of time. And at our college level, in 2005, we had 5 college programs. Currently, we have 20 college programs. So the numbers of programs, the numbers of wrestlers, the numbers of opportunities for women in this sport are growing dramatically, and that can only help us. And I think it can help wrestling at every level. And I hope people see the value in women being on a wrestling mat. In a sport like wrestling that fights for everything, that fights for attention, that fights for sponsorship, that fights for everything, I just think that inviting another half the population into the sport of wrestling can only help and only enhance it.
Anyone else?
Terry, for you personally, what sort of emotions do you have coming back to the site where you attended college?
Well, I have a lot of great memories from here. And, being back here and knowing what wrestling means to this community and this state and this university, it's exciting. And I knew that coming in. And, we came back here with our national team in early December, and I wanted our national team to be familiar with the arena, Carver Hawkeye Arena, so when they got here, they already knew kind of what to expect. And the one thing we talked about on the way here was you're going to see that there's a great appreciation for the sport of wrestling, and I think it's always helpful to anyone when they know what they're doing is very much appreciated. And I know when I was getting recruited here as a high school athlete, Coach Gable talked about the Iowa fans and the importance on wrestling, and it's really hard to comprehend that and understand that as a high school athlete. But once we stepped into the arena the first time, there's 10, 12, 15,000 people, you get an idea real quick. And just on a daily basis to go in and do what you're doing and know you're being appreciated. I mean, that's the one thing that this place highlights more than anything.
Anyone else? Thank you, Coach Steiner. Our next coach, to my far right, was Olympic silver medalist, world champion as an athlete, leading our men's freestyle program. He came in around 2008. We were third in the world this past year in men's freestyle wrestling. And Coach Zeke Jones, our men's freestyle head coach. Coach Jones, talk a little bit about your goals and aspirations for the men's freestyle program heading right now into the Olympic. We're into crunch time for the Olympics.
Well, I can tell you this, it's pretty simple. We want to win gold medals. This is what America's about, it's winning gold medals. It's their dreams. You're talking about the dreams of the American wrestlers. Travis and Brent and Jake, they grew up with a dream, and that's to win that gold medal. And it's pretty simple. We want to dominate. We want to go into the Olympic Games and dominate, nothing less. And we want to do it with style and class. We are the American team. We want to be honorable. We want to be respectful. But we want to do this for our country. This is about America. This is about the next 16 weeks. We're going to be the United States Wrestling Program, and that's our goal.
Let's talk a little bit about the level of competition people can expect. Some of the athletes people may know from their college years, but they've been doing a heck of a lot of wrestling since college, and we also have a lot of good college athletes too. I mean, as a national coach, when you see the crop of athletes that are going to represent your style this week, what's your thoughts?
Well, the only thing I can really say is best in the world. We're talking about the best wrestlers in the world. I'm not going to say America. Of course, they're already that. They're here. But we're talking about best in the world, and really nothing less.
Any questions for Coach Jones?
I sure. At 132, where Sean and Humphrey will not be here because they'll be contending with those in Finland and China. If they do qualify that way, the guy who is not here, who does not qualify, will he be in the running to compete for that weight later?
Yeah, let me maybe say it this way. We have Sean and Reese sitting out. They will be in the final wrestle-off. I'm considering right now whether I'll wrestle the Olympic trials champion or the wrestler that we take to Finland, wrestle the Olympic trials champ, or Reese. Because Reese isn't wrestling in China. Sean Bunch is. So I'm going to pick between Reese and the Olympic trials champ and decide if we need to go to Finland. But I guess that's the world of what if. We're planning on qualifying this next weekend in China.
Any other questions for Coach Jones? Okay, our other national coach is our assistant national coach, Momir Petkovic. He was an Olympic champion in Greco-Roman, has been working with our program for a number of Olympic cycles. Certainly has a great perspective on the United States Greco-Roman program at this time heading into the Olympic Games in London. Coach Petkovic, could you talk a little bit about what kind of goals you and the national coaching staff have set for Greco-Roman for this Olympics?
Well, first of all, we really hope that we're going to have our best guys, combination of young blood and some experienced warriors out there who's going to represent our country on the highest level, represent themselves, and then definitely bring some medals, gold medals back to the country and kind of bring Greco back on track and prove again that we really can do it.
For people that haven't seen Greco, could you talk a little bit about the excitement the sport has and some of the things that a first-time Greco participant, or someone who's seen it for the first time, might see from the athletes that you're coaching?
Well, I really hope that Greco, like a sport, is going to stay for a long time after this trial with all wrestling fans, especially from the people in Iowa. They love wrestling. It's a little bit different style, but it's very exciting. I hope they're going to see a lot of nice, attractive throws, 5-point throws, and it's going to stay with them for a long time. I hope they're going to really remember Greco, that also can be a very, very excited, wrestling style, and they're going to really enjoy it.
Any questions for Coach Petkovic about Greco? Or
What is the status of Ulan Gardner? Is he going to make weight?
Well, I really can't say too much. The only thing I can say, if he makes weight, that's going to be just typical him. And in case if he doesn't, I know he's not going to sit on his butt. He's going to go down by falling forward. That much I can say.
Anyone else? Okay. Now I'd like to introduce some of our great athletes here. We've been able to invite 2 athletes from major universities here in the state of Iowa who not only represent their country in international competition, but also have a strong representation for this region through their college affiliations. And I'd like to start off with our host program here at the University of Iowa, Brent Metcalf, who was a star athlete here and has made world teams for the United States, and is one of the top hopefuls for our team at 66 kilograms, to my right. Brent, could you talk a little bit about your thoughts about wrestling here in Iowa? Another full house with the Olympic Games on stake. Your thoughts about the opportunity to be out there?
I'm very excited for it. It's been a number of years since I've competed in that atmosphere. I guess I did earlier this year. Got to do a dual meet there, and that was pretty exciting before our Oklahoma State match. So probably just to replay that, but a replay with a lot more on the line, with the opportunity to go to the Olympic Games on the line. So I'm very excited about it. We've all talked about how exciting it is to wrestle in that arena, and a number of these guys may have before, but when it's your home arena, it is a little bit different, and it is a little bit louder, and it is quite a motivating factor. So I'm very excited for it, and there's a lot on the line, and haven't lost ever there in my career, so hope to continue that going.
Now, Brent, at this point, how do you feel your training and competition is going, and what do you think it'll take for you to come out of here as the Olympic team member?
Training's very good, body feels very good, very motivated, feel right where I need to be. Just got to continue to do things that I've probably talked about a lot, which is score points and build leads and wrestle smart at the end of periods. Maybe not give things up. I guess I have to reflect on maybe my result from last year. But right now we're at the point where it's enough talking about it, I need score points, I need to do this, and it's time to go do it. It's time to go out and really just put a thump on your opponents and go take what you want, which is that spot on the Olympic team. So.
Any questions at this point for Brent Metcalf? Thank Thanks, Brent. Could you pass the microphone to your right, please? We're going to move on over to an Iowa State guy who came up and he's with the program down in Ames. He was obviously one of their star wrestlers as a Cyclone, and he's now representing the United States at the World Championships in men's freestyle. Travis Paulson. Travis, could you talk a little bit about a kid growing up in Iowa? Did you ever dream that you could make an Olympic team in front of your friends and family right here in the state? I mean, what kind of thoughts went through your mind when you heard that we were going to hold the Olympic trials here in Iowa?
It was a great feeling when I heard it was going to be in Iowa. What was important for me was either Council Bluffs or Iowa City. As long as it's not in Iowa, I'm happy. People have told me, hey, you're going over to hostile territory over there in Iowa City, over to Iowa State, but Iowa fans are great. They have a lot of intensity, and I love wrestling in that type of environment. And really, Iowa people are just great wrestling fans. They're knowledgeable, and they want to see people from Iowa get on the team. So I think it'll be a great environment.
Now let's talk a little bit. You're a twin. Your brother's also a top hopeful for the team. At times you've been at the same weight, and at times you haven't. And I think you made a decision to move up a little bit. And how's that working out for you? You're going to have a different set of athletes to compete against than you maybe did in past trials. Talk a little bit about the decision that you guys made as brothers, but also yourself for your competition at 84 kilo.
Really, I made the ultimate decision on going up, watching my brother compete at the Pan American Games and wrestle into a gold medal there. The way he competed, his offensive rate, his intensity, I know if he wrestles like that, he'll be on the Olympic team. And being injured last year, not being able to wrestle in the trials, I knew that probably the way the seeding would go, I'd have to wrestle my twin brother's second round. And growing up, we both have had the same goal, and that wasn't ideal. And I'm big enough to compete at 84, and so I made the commitment to go up, and I like my chances there. I weigh more, but I can also jump higher. I'm explosive, and I put in the work, and I'm ready.
Any questions for Travis Paulson? Thank you, Travis. Okay, to my left, we have a member of the women's wrestling team. In 2008, I'm getting a century here, I'm sorry. 2008, she was a world champion in women's freestyle wrestling, and she also competed, took 5th place in the Olympic Games that were held in Beijing, China. Clarissa Chun. Clarissa, coming into this Olympic trials, you're the top favorite. You're national champ, and you're going to be sitting out, waiting for other athletes. And last couple times at the Olympic trials, you were considered an underdog. Is this different for you coming in this position, having had the experience of being our top athlete for a number of years?
It's a little different because now I have that target on my back. In order for someone to make the Olympic team, they have to come through me. Whereas being the underdog, I could visualize where the target was to come out and have to be the #1 person to make the Olympic team. But in preparation, it's all the same. Just polishing everything and make myself a better wrestler. I never trained to beat one particular person, so I guess my preparation is the same, and just go out there and wrestle.
Now, in your mind, what would it take as far as your performance to beat the tough athletes? You have a very loaded weight class this time. You're going to have a very good opponent in the finals. What do you have to do to win the Olympic trials for a second time and become the first woman to make 2 Olympic teams in wrestling?
Wrestle like I know how. Wrestle my best. Focus and just lay it all out there on the line, just never giving up positions, fighting for every point, just everything it takes to be a champion. So.
Just one other follow-up question. You and the women's team came out here in December and trained. Could you talk about how that experience helped prepare you for what you're going to face in the trials this weekend?
It was an amazing experience. I'm so glad that we were able to be a part of like the whole experience of being able to come here and see the arena, watch like an Iowa practice, and like hear the brands coaches speak. You know, they're like the whole thing was motivating. Being put through workouts by Terry, you know, like the infamous stair workouts. You know, like it's like trust everything that we've done, and you know, we've worked hard day in and day out, and being able to visualize where we're going to compete is probably a huge thing as well.
Do we have any questions for Clarissa? Yes.
Could you talk a little bit about how the perception of the women's side of the sport has changed since you started?
For me, it was a little different as far as perception of women's wrestling, whether or not being accepted, you know, because I'm from Hawaii, and Hawaii was one of the first states to have boys and girls separate state tournaments. So, and I grew up doing judo, and I would practice with guys all the time doing judo and wrestle with guys. But I feel like it's becoming more accepted, you know, like it's becoming more widespread across the country, like girls and boys having separate wrestling programs.
If I can interject here too, I mean, one of the perceptions I think from just athletes that are around it, you know, when I first started with women's wrestling, it was shortly after I took over. It was about, I think, 6 months into the job, and one of our Greco-Roman Olympians at that time, Jim Gruenwald, we were in the locker room after practice one day, and he came in. We were just talking, and he said, you know, I said, it's a lot different since there's a coach here on a daily basis. He said, these athletes are in here 2-3 times a day. They're doing the same things we're doing. They're in here lifting, they're running, they're wrestling, they're drilling, they're working on technique, they're working on tactics. He said, I guess if I can't appreciate what they're doing, how can I appreciate what I'm doing? And, you know, wrestling is good for everyone. You know, we pride ourselves as a wrestling community that wrestling is a sport for everyone. And it truly is a sport for everyone.
Any other questions for Clarissa? Thank you. To my right, men's freestyle star, Mr. Jake Herbert. Wrestled at Northwestern and has been wrestling for the United States since graduation. World silver medalist in 2009, and heading into the Olympic trials, having another great year this year. Jake, could you talk a little bit about this quadrennium? In 09, you won the last NCAA title, took home the Hodge Trophy, and then went to your first World Championships. How quickly is this going for you, and then what kind of things have you learned leading up to this Olympic trials?
Well, it's flown by. I mean, you know, I went to college to get a good degree to wrestle and, you know, to use that degree, and I never thought that, you know, as a freshman in college that I'd be here getting ready for the Olympic trials. I guess I didn't really have those aspirations until 06. I went overseas and I won a bronze medal at the University of World Games, and I started realizing, wow, you know, I'm not just one of the best wrestlers in the country, but I'm one of the best in the world. So after that year I had in 09, I figured if I dedicated myself full time, and that's all I did, I you know, live, breathe, you know, wrestling, that I could win a gold medal. So it's been a crazy quadrennium. How's that word?
Quadrennium.
Quadrennium.
4-year cycles, what I say when I forget.
It's been a crazy 4-year cycle. I mean, a lot of ups and downs. You really look inside yourself as a person, especially those times when you're down, you know, to see that you can overcome, you know, the challenges and stuff you're facing. So I feel very confident about this weekend. I feel really good. I'm looking to voluntarily ruin my summer.
You mean in training?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. But looking into your preparation, what's it going to take for you on the mat to win this event and then win the Olympics if you get that opportunity?
Well, good solid wrestling. I mean, you know, all I gotta do is step out there and make sure that I wrestle and compete. You know, I can't let it come down to a ball grab. I can't let it go in the other person's hands. You know, I can't worry about anything. If I focus on wrestling, I focus on scoring. That's when I do my best. You know, I shut off my brain and let my body do what it's trained to do. And you know, the goal here is not to just make the Olympic team, but it's to get gold. you know, but to get a gold medal, you have to first reach the finals. So get an Olympic gold medal, I have to first reach the team. So that's make the team, and then we have the whole summer to focus on getting gold in London.
Any questions for Jake?
Jake, you talked about ruin in the summer. A lot of people thought maybe last year's summer was ruined when you didn't make that way because that was Anderson came back. Talk about what that did to you. Just disappointed or your feelings about it?
Yeah, real disappointed. I mean, not making a team, you know, especially when you've been on the team the last few years and have somebody like Sanderson step out of retirement, you know, somebody that hasn't been training full-time for 7 years and beat you, that really, it hits you hard, you know, and it was nice to get a little break from that there and not really compete that summer, but I mean, I wanted to compete, you know, I was looking forward. 2011 was my year to, you know, to get my world title and let everybody know that, you know, I'm the champ in 2011, and 2012 the Olympics is going to be mine. You know, 84 kilo doesn't have a front runner at the World Championships. Everybody's beating everybody, and it seems like whoever's the best that day is going to be there. And, you know, I've beaten the top guys in the world, so I know that, you know, I want to be able to wrestle my absolute worst and still be the best. You know, but if I'm on my best, I'm on my game. I'm looking to walk through that.
Yes, sir.
Jake, are you disappointed Kale didn't show up this time?
I mean, I don't really know how I feel about that. Disappointed, yes, because who says I'd wrestle him? You know, he could get beat before. You know, there's so many things that can happen in wrestling. I'm not focused on who I have to beat. I'm focused on who's out in front of me on the mat, and I'm just taking it one match at a time. You know, I'm not going to get to the semifinals without winning the first match. So I'm not going to get the finals out, you know, winning the semis. So it's one match at a time, and it's whoever's out there is going to be a good wrestler. They're going to give me everything they have, and I'm going to give that right back to them.
Anyone else? Okay, and to my left, we have a national champion here in Greco-Roman wrestling, 96 kilograms, R.C. Johnson. R.C. native Minnesota, been training in Colorado Springs for a long time. An opportunity again to compete in the Olympic trials. R.C., you have a different journey ahead than the other people sitting here. Your weight class is not right, you know, qualified for the Olympics. I mean, as an athlete approaching the Olympic trials, what are your thoughts about how you approach this? Does it change anything? And then what do you think about the challenge that's ahead for you and everyone else in your weight class?
I mean, really for me, it's just another tournament. I mean, every tournament's the same thing. It's the same thing. You gotta wrestle guys. You gotta win the first round, win the second round. Same guys are pretty much there at all the tournaments, the whole season round in the U.S. It's the same thing. I mean, it's a little different because I know if I do win this tournament, there's still more to come. It's not just, okay, you win the tournament, you made the team, so it's slightly different that way. Other than that, you know, it's still prepared the same. There's nothing really changed in the preparation phase, just, you know, because you have to win. I mean, whether the weight class is qualified and then winning this tournament means you're on the team, or the weight class is not qualified and you win this tournament and you got to win another wrestle off and then win or whatever, and then you're on the team. Same thing, you still have to win the tournament. So for me, it's just the focus on just got to go out there and win. Got to wrestle smart, win.
Now, I know you Greco guys take a whole lot of pride in your style, and you have an opportunity here with a packed house in Iowa, and people that may not know as much about Greco as they do about other parts of wrestling. Do you get excited about the possibility of going out there and giving a good show and representing the style of wrestling that you excel at?
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely. I think especially Greco's a lot different than freestyle and, you know, what you see in college. And most people that kind of ask me, you know, what's Greco? Why is Greco so different? What is it exactly? You know, what do you do? And so it's kind of always fun having to explain to people, you know, no attack and defensive legs and things of that nature. And I think that just at this level of wrestling, just when everybody can come and just watch us wrestle, you'll be able to learn a lot about Greco. And I think it's great to be able to showcase that and show. I mean, to me, I think it's the best style. Well, I think I'm a bit biased there, but yeah, I think it's going to be just a great stage to kind of show everybody, hey, look, Greco's here, Greco's legit, and maybe attract a few more people over to the dark side.
Why is it the dark side?
It is what it is.
Do we have any other questions for RC? Okay, well at this point, any other questions for anybody?
Actually, yeah, this is for RC. RC coming from Minnesota, you know, Big Ten country. You knew about Iowa wrestling coming in. You decided to go to Northern, and a lot of your Greco colleagues didn't wrestle in the Big Ten. If they did wrestle Division I, they were smaller programs. What's it like going to be for you guys to wrestle in Carver Hawkeye, many of you for the first time?
I mean, it's going to be a heck of an experience, that's for sure. I mean, I've heard about this arena. Everybody tells me how great it is to wrestle. It's like kind of the home arena for wrestling in the country. It's one of the best and one of the biggest. And I think it's going to be a great opportunity. I mean, I've been able to travel the world, you know, wrestling in great arenas and all over the world. So this is just going to be another one to kind of check off the list, and it's going to be a great experience.
Any other questions at this point? Okay, at this point we're going to do let us break into little groups, do one-on-ones with individual athletes, coaches. We've asked the athletes to hang around for a little bit and make sure that everyone has what they need. Thank you so much. We're going to see you guys tomorrow morning covering the U.S. Olympic team trials in wrestling. We're real excited you're here. So thank you very much.